And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host, as always, Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm doing good. I'm finally back from all my trips, and my room, it looks like my suitcase blew up in it. But other than that, I'm doing really well. It was a good week. Not good week. It was a good month.
Couple weeks, right?
I went 5 different places this month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Super crazy.
Well, I don't want to say no anymore. You know, like everybody was like, Teen, what are you doing for your birthday? You should come and see me. I'm like, okay, I'm going, you know, so it was all places that I didn't have to spend much, you know, to go. Mm-hmm. But it was nice to reconnect. I still have one more visit. I'm going to go see my cousin. I need to go see my cousin, but that one requires me to not just throw it all out there and go. I have to do some planning. So
right.
That will be the next one. But other than that, I'm home.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. It seems like forever that we haven't done this. So
it's been 2 weeks. Yeah,
I know, but it seems like such a long time. So,
right.
But it has not been. So, make sure to check out our socials, all that fun stuff, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then check us out and on Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, any place you can hear this crazy podcast. Make sure you follow and subscribe. All right. So as always, we always have ideas that are floating around, and we actually had a couple. So, and I know we were going to do one, but I kind of squashed that because my frame of mind, I didn't want to like blow up because I saw a friend of mine and I didn't want to like throw that out there just because of things people are going through. Mm-hmm. Although we're gonna talk about that one, but this one kind of came up at my work. We were talking about there's a guy named Andrew Tate who kind of talks about the differences between men and women, and he gets thrown into being called misogynistic and a bunch of other shit, but some of the stuff he says is out of control. Matter of fact, he was in a prison in Romania, but they just let him out to house arrest because supposedly he was trafficking women. But that's neither here nor there because he hasn't been charged. But he does say a lot about how women really want a nice guy but never go for one. And it kind of echoed back to something that my ex-wife said years and years ago to a friend of mine, saying that I was just too nice. And I thought that was just a crazy thing. So this came out at my work, and I work with all males. There's not one female that works at my place. So all these things started getting kind of thrown back and forth between the different age groups. The youngest is probably 30 and the oldest is like 62. So we all started talking about this kind of stuff. And I was just like, I don't get it. Women generally say, you know, I want a nice guy and I want this. And they usually end up with dicks that they continue to stay with that are just fucking horrible human beings that say horrible shit to them and do all this shit, but they never pick the nice guy. And I'd never understood that. Because we kind of talked off the air right before we got here. The women are just a different breed, and so are men. And obviously we're different. Men, at least the people that I know, they don't want some bitch that they just continues to be a bitch. They just
I don't know, because I know a lot of guys that are with like women that I could honestly say, I don't know how they don't just slam their head into a wall sometimes with the stuff I hear them say. So I know you said that men don't pick women like that, but they do.
I mean, I just don't think that it's the general thing. Like, women want the bad boy. Guys want a whore in the bedroom, but they want someone nice 99% of the time everywhere else. They want that weird thing. Women seem to go for like the bad boy, aggressive, crazy guy that's just a fucking prick. And I don't get it. Like, and again, I'm just coming from me because like nice guys finish last, and that's probably what this show will probably end up be calling or something like that when I edit it. I think it's wild that the normal, generally nice dude who pretty much is your, I hate to say Hollywood guy, but people like that, they always do finish last. They're always the guys that are just like, yeah, I'm cool, but or they just get friend zoned so quick. And maybe it's just I don't understand that side. So, and the guys at my work were kind of saying the same thing. It's like all their male friends who are kind of douchey or just kind of pricks always get the girl. What about you around your people? And again, we're a little older, but I still think it's been around since we were in high school. You know what I mean? It's like nothing new.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of see things different. Like there's a generality with females right now where they're the ones that are kind of aggressive and kind of bitchy. So I would say that they definitely wouldn't want somebody that couldn't top that, because you need somebody that's going to outdo you. And maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like the nice guys, being that I had a dad around and a grandfather and uncles and brother. Guys, I treated guys differently. I was a guy's girl. That's what all my people say about me. Mm-hmm. Like I don't have a problem with guys. If I'm going to have a problem, it's normally with a woman. Guys are pretty straightforward. I like that. But not that they can't be douchey. They can, but I also believe that we bring out certain characteristics in every person. And so if we're going for a douchey guy, it's normally because we're doing something to create it.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. I can see where you're coming from that. My thing is like, it's always the bad boy. And maybe that is kind of true. I think most women that think they want the bad boy is because that bad boy has super confidence, or, they think that a bad boy being kind of dicky is going to be the person who's the protector.
Or maybe they've been raised with guys that are kind of dicky to their female role models. And so that's what they go for, because that's what they've been trained to deal with. Yeah. Could go that way.
I mean, and I understand like how an early relationship could cause that kind of thing, to where you continue to just keep going to the same kind of person. I mean, I understand that part of it. But I still think that that's probably a low percentage. The people that, and I've seen it in my life, like my best friend growing up in his high school years was a fucking idiot and a prick to every girl. And they fucking couldn't wait to line up to get at him. And I remember he used to step back, and I had girlfriends during that time, and I'm pretty much the same guy. All in all, I'm how I think of what you should do. Again, I'm sappy though. I'm a hopeless romantic, so I'm kind of this weird thing. But I'm starting to think I should just be a dick. I think I should just say fuck off to everybody and shit on everyone and go, okay. Because they seem to get the relationship.
Right. Well, here's the deal, though. You could only love somebody as much as you love yourself. And women don't tend to love themselves the way they should. That's what I see. So they'll stay at the same energy that they feel about themselves. And if they're with a guy that's like really douchey, maybe that says a lot about what they think about themselves.
Yeah. I mean, and again, I think previous relationships or the last relationship can be a killer. my friend in Vegas, I bring her up quite a lot. She was in a relationship for 17 years. I had never realized how mentally abusive her husband was until we started kind of talking really, really deep about things. Like I think you do know her. We went to high school together. I'm not sure if you know her or not, but anyway, she's always been really pretty. In high school, she was heavier, lost a ton of weight. But her husband was one of those people that were just like, no one's ever going to want you. And hammered that into her for so long that she believed it, to the point where, like, she'd question you for saying she was pretty.
Listen, that happens so often. You know, women, again, if you don't love yourself, you're going to find somebody that won't love you as well, just because that's where you're at. If you believe what everybody says over and over again about you, which I don't know how people don't believe it, because it will wear on you if you're getting negative responses. But I also know that if somebody really loves you, they will make you a better person. And you have to look for, I say, if you want to have a good life, you need to have somebody that requires that you keep being motivated. You keep trying to do more. You keep trying to be a better person. But oftentimes women will pick either, you know, what their fathers were like, or if their fathers weren't there, whatever they're left with, that's a big deal. A lot of women don't like themselves. It's just something that's very common amongst women. If they don't like themselves, they're not going to like you. You can't be in a relationship with somebody that doesn't really like themselves. It just don't work. And you're going to have to put up with a lot of drama. But I think that as a whole, you know, society has made it to where women have to be aggressive. Women have to do everything and often feel like they're failing because they can't do one thing well because they're doing 20 things at one time. Right. So I think that women need to quit being so hard on themselves and start working on why they feel the way they do. And then maybe they'll pick better people.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like societal, I think modern feminism I mean, we've talked about it before on the podcast, has hurt both sides, right? You know, women expect to be independent and do all these things and not need a man, but still think the man should do all the manly shit, like pay all the bills and do all this and do all that. So now men are kind of stepping backwards and going, why do I need that when she expects everything, but still thinks that she's the leader? And I get, like, look, I'm a true believer. Men should be the leader in a partnership. It should be a partnership for sure. But yes, I think men should lead, and call me misogynistic, whatever you want to call. I just come from that era, right? Where my dad's dad did that. That's just reality. And I think that that's what's also hurting things, where modern women think that nice guys are one of two things. They're either weak or they're not believable. They have an ulterior motive. They're acting like this to get something. And I think that's even scarier, that the person that, because all I hear is from people who've had shitty relationships with guys is, I've been in this relationship. He was shitty. I went to the next guy. He ended up being shitty. I was in this relationship. It wasn't what I wanted.
But who's the common denominator in all that? She is.
That's correct. But look, you're picking someone, or there's something about that person. But at some point, you have to be able to tell yourself, like, maybe I'm I'm missing out on something that I think is the weak man, or that maybe it's believable, because I mean, and maybe I'm just the crazy one, because I see people for what they are. Like, if someone acts a certain way to me, generally I go, that's just who they are. Like, so if you're a bitch, generally you're probably a bitch.
Right.
And if you're not, you're probably like most people, you pop off every blue moon, because even the nice guy has his limits,
and
right?
should. Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, he's a very cool, passive dude who's like, look, I just want to love you the way you are. And that's okay. I just think it's wild because I listen to some other podcasts or watch shit that I see on YouTube, and these girls are just like
idiots.
They're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not all the women that I'm talking about that like this bad boy or like end up with these guys that they're just shitty to them, that they're not like this either, that are just like, I'm independent and I know people that are traditionalists and still end up with this for whatever reason. And on the flip side, those same people think they're broken. Like, there's something wrong with me. It's like, it's not that there's something wrong with you. You just end up in this perpetual circle instead of jumping out of the circle when you have the chance. To me, like, when you have the chance to jump out of the airplane, fucking jump out. It's okay. I mean, you may not have the best parachute, but you still got one on. You know what I mean? Like, you got a job. Like, my friend in Vegas, she was going through all this shit. She hadn't worked in fucking 14 years. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine not working for that long and then having to get back into the workforce.
It's got to be pretty scary, but also
it was insanely scary.
Of course, but also very liberating. You know, you get your freedom when you make your own choices, when you make your own money, when you do what you need to do to take care of yourself. There's a freedom in that. As scary as it is, you know, we ride roller coasters with our hands up in the air. There's a reason for that. It's good to be scared. It's good to take risks. Mm-hmm. It's good to thankfully, she did that after 17 years and didn't wait 20 years. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you want to limit yourself in any way on this earth at all? With who we are as Americans, like, women don't need to walk around with their face hidden. They don't have to have an escort. We could come and go as we please and do our own thing. Why would they not?
Yeah, I think that I'm sure it was, again, scary and liberating. I mean, to have the freedom of your headspace of not being in something you're not happy in has to be incredibly good. You're right. Being scared. It's funny. I just heard this on another podcast as well. You know that we go on roller coasters because we get the adrenaline rush of maybe dying. Mm-hmm. That's what our head actually thinks. Like, I might die on this, so I'm going to go do it. Or like the same with jumping out of an airplane. Mm-hmm. And I think there is something to be scared. Like, look, when I got divorced, and the same with you, because you're very freshly in it. And we were hanging out at the time. Like, you took me to a high school reunion when I was going through my divorce. Mm-hmm. I was utterly scared. I mean, because it was such a fresh start, and I was kind of in this very bizarre headspace. But
and we had a great time.
I did. Well, we had a great time because I was at a time where I literally said, fuck it.
That's what you needed to say at the time, though. Be honest, you did.
I had to. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I ended up, it's funny because we ended up going there and hung out with a friend of yours I didn't know.
Who was excellent to take to a reunion.
It was. She was actually perfect because, like, mostly for me, and it's, and looking back on it now, it's funny because she is very happily married and has a child and everything. Mm-hmm. But at the time was very flirty with me. Mm-hmm. And I think that helped me back on the horse. and I think, and for that night, I think it was very real. Like, I think she was flirting with me just to flirt with me. Mm-hmm. So it definitely helped me get back on the horse to where, yeah, I was scared. I was scared of life, but maybe I wasn't scared of getting back into that part of my life. Mm-hmm. So to see that as being what, again, perpetually the nice guy, because that's what I am. I mean, it's funny. I've been called intense, which I have no problem with that. When I am pursuing someone, I'm very intense. Or if I'm fighting for a relationship, I'm very intense. But I wholeheartly mean that intensity with only mm-hmm. love.
Right.
It's not craziness, like things that I've heard recently just blow me away. What men say to people to make them feel absolutely horrible. Something that it's just not me. Like, my intensity is this. My intensity is that I send flowers and write poetry for you. I don't degrade you from a personal standpoint about your body or this or that. To me, it's just absurd. Mm-hmm. And that men talk like this to the person that they so-called love. To me, like this particular person who had told me a story, I refuse now from now on to call that person her man, because he's not. I mean, truly, he's a piece of shit. And that's probably how I'll refer to him, to her, from now on. Because
some people deserve that, though.
Again, things he's said and done, and I probably know a very small amount, because she probably tells me a very small percentage,
right?
Based on our relationship. But the things, and she's not the only one I've heard this from. This just happens to be that I've heard within the last week. But in my life, I've heard it a lot, that these just narcissistic pieces of shit that think that they can manipulate someone, call them horrible names, and then text somebody later that, like, oh, I'm sorry, but I really do love you. It's like, wait, no. Like,
we get what we accept, though, as people. If we accept that behavior, we're always going to get it, hands down.
True. And I think what I was with this particular person, again, she thinks she's broken, that there's something wrong with her head.
There is. She needs to set her standard higher.
Probably. I mean, without a doubt, if this piece of shit is doing these things, I kind of said something to her the other day, and I was kind of talking to her and giggling. And I said, I'm not trying to be the white knight, but this. And she goes, but you are trying to be the white knight. And I was like, yes, you're right. I am trying to be the white knight, but that's because of this and this. And I kind of have what my relationship with her is a very bizarre, much longer story that one day I'll have to sit and actually tell the whole story when I am ready. But so when I talk to her about things, it's hard for me to separate how I feel about her and what I want to say. And I do my best to stay within both. Like, I try to be in the middle of most things, because I don't want to come off as the, guy riding on the horse. But I also want to say, look, this guy's a fucking idiot, and you'll be okay alone. And I've said that to several people. I used to work with a girl who her husband man, just was not a good person. And again, they were very, very bad for each other. She was not helpful in that. Like, they would just drink too much and bicker and fight and like lots of damage to the house. As a matter of fact, it was in the Valley. It's when I worked over across the street from Jack in the Box on Roscoe. She had just, they were bad. And when they were good, it was good to see them together. But when they were bad, it was, I mean, utter chaos. Like, they would break shit all the time in their house. Doors, fucking windows, car windows, like crazy shit, like crazy people shit. So I've seen this for a long time, and funny, they're not together anymore. What do you know?
I wonder why.
Yeah. Because, some people are just flammable liquids and matches. And as long as the match isn't lit, the flammable liquid's fine. But as soon as that one little match gets lighted up, everything goes to chaos. And to this day, and I think she's been divorced maybe 7 years, she still has issues finding a man. And again, not to defend her against any man, she's a hard pill to swallow. She's very rough, very independent, very and I kind of step back sometimes and just go to her and go, you gotta fucking relax. Like, stop. And she chases bad boys. That's her fucking MO.
Is she trying to fix people? Because that's another thing women do. They'll get a broken person so they could fix them. I'm like, why would you want to fix somebody that's broken? Let them fix themselves.
Yeah, this one doesn't try to fix people. She just likes bad boys. She likes, skater dudes or punk guys or like, that style of man, which is probably great when you were 17. You know what I mean?
And
like,
even then, was it great? Like, come on.
It probably wasn't great, but you couldn't get too damaged from it when you were young. When you're doing that in your 30s and 40s and 50s, for our sake, that you're not helping any situation. And again, maybe just because I look at the view of like, what do you go into a relationship for now? There should only be one goal, is to settle down. I don't want to date perpetually forever. Whatever that means, a commitment, marriage, if that's your thing. It is for me. I would love to get married again. If I found the right person, or a serious commitment to where maybe you're not married, but you share everything, all your bills. You want to wear rings to show people that you're together. Whatever that is, some kind of serious commitment. If you're not in a relationship now to have that serious commitment, to me, you're crazy. At our age, at 30s, 40s, 50s, if you're in your 20s, fuck around all you want. Because I think those are your fuck around years. Some people didn't have those fuck around years, though. The girl that I'm talking about that I worked with, she had children early. So she didn't have that time to be messing around because she had a child at 18, 19 years old. So all of her 20s were raising kids, and then another kid, and then another kid. She happened to have 3 kids. So I think a lot of that also goes into that too, where people who had children early are trying to party later on in their life or open up their life later on, where that's got to be a difficult thing. Like, I didn't have my boy until I was 30. So I had a lot of big years. And then now I'm looking to everyone loves to go out and have a good time. I have no problem with that, but that can't be a lifestyle. Like, you can't live like that. You can travel, you can do things, but partying every weekend is not good for anyone. And my friend in the Valley, that's her thing. And again, we'll grow out of that. But I think the growing out part also is finding somebody who's not perpetually the villain or the bad guy, or who's knocking you down all the time. And I'm not saying that like every, good person or someone who would be considered a good guy is a great guy. That's not necessarily true either. But I think the foundation should be, he's not a dick. Like, he doesn't say bad things about how I look every day. He doesn't knock me down. He doesn't get violent at all. I mean, these should be normal things in society where they don't seem to be.
I don't know. People pick people for like the most lame reasons. Let's be honest. Like, I've even gone out with guys for the lamest of reasons. I really don't even need one, to be honest with you, to make a mistake, to do something, it happens. You have to learn whatever you're supposed to learn from those situations and try to better yourself. If you're staying stuck, if you're trying to save somebody, if you're damn Captain Save-A-Ho, take off the cape and move away from the person that you're trying to fix. Like, it's not going to happen. You have to love yourself. You have to love, you have to love yourself enough to say, look, I want you in my life, but if you can't be in my life in a positive way, get the fuck out.
Right.
And I think that we as people don't do that because we don't love ourselves enough. Let's just face it. I have seen so many women put up with so much shit, but they have the lowest of self-esteem. They have all these problems. They think they're worthless. They think they're ugly. Oh my God, if I have to hear somebody talk about how ugly their ears are again, I cut hair. Nobody even looks at ears. I look at everything and I don't see ears. Right. They quit making a freaking problem out of everything. Own who you are, glam it up, do whatever you got to do so you feel better about it, and get over the shit so that you do pick better, so that you are making better choices, so that you're not somebody's mother. You have to just stop being stupid. Stupid. That's what they're being. They're being stupid. You want to be stupid. You want to be abused. You want to get hit. You want to be with bad people. Do it. Do it. But don't put that on anybody other than yourself, because you're making stupid choices.
Right. Yeah. And vice versa. If you're a dude who's in the same situation,
get the fuck out.
You got to bail out.
Seriously, I am so tired of hearing men say men don't get treated well after like a certain number of years. They're kind of overlooked and underappreciated, and they're not happy, but they won't say shit because they're in it. Why would you want to stay with that? And we're getting old. Who wants to sit on a couch with somebody that doesn't even want to be around you? Sure. They lost interest a long time ago in having sex with you. They're not going to want to sit with you either. I tried telling somebody this the other night. Actually, I was sitting down with two women, and we were talking about saying, things about like that. Like, looks are great. Look, I absolutely think pretty women are great. And the person that I'm talking about, I think, is utterly gorgeous. But if you're not stimulating my brain, it doesn't matter. Your looks will fade. I don't care how much shit you do to yourself. They're going to fade. We're all going to get old. We're all going to get gray. No, but I mean, but and look, and like I'm saying, she's gorgeous, stunning to me. I think she's absolutely beautiful. One of the, I would top notch, but I can talk to her, and that turns me on way more than anything else. And I think that that's the bigger thing. And if you're with somebody who isn't stimulating your brain, is the first thing. And maybe, I think just by the things I listen to, men bail quicker. Men get out of things much quicker before marriage. Let's say they're dating. I think guys before marriage, because after marriage, they don't. They
don't. No, for sure. I have no problem saying that. That is for absolutely sure. But I think it's because guys are worried about losing half their shit. And that's just being honest as well.
They're going to lose it staying with her too, because she's going to spend it. It's just the way it is. They're not going to get all of their money anytime.
No. But I think that the whole thing of going through the divorce is what hurts the most, because you are going to lose. And again, before we get too deep into that, that's a whole other conversation. Mm-hmm. I think just with kids and everything else, but pre-marriage, guys will just bail out. If they think they're with somebody who isn't going to be a long run, they just bail. They'll find somebody else. Women, and again, I'm generalizing. This isn't everyone. So listeners, don't freak the fuck out. Women will stay longer to see if they can fix them. Men fix problems.
Yes.
Women try to fix people.
Yep. I agree with that.
And my friend that I was talking to said something to me that should stand clear more than anything. Her piece of shit told her that she deserves a better man. And I said, that was the best fucking thing he's ever said to you, because he's right. Mm-hmm. You deserve a better man. Mm-hmm. So take his shitty advice and bail the fuck out. Because she said something to me. She goes, I keep trying to turn pieces of shit into butterflies. And my advice was find a fucking butterfly.
Yeah. Start there.
Because we're out there. And if you're scared, listener, that you can't do things on your own, or the in-between going from this piece of shit to a better man, you can do it. All of you. My friend in Vegas has done it. She's doing fine. My friend in the Valley, she's doing okay.
I didn't think I would be doing as well as I'm doing. I honestly didn't.
And you are as well.
I'm, what's funny is not only am I doing well, but he's doing well. And
yes.
And nothing got so damaged that it's left with regret. We did what we did. We left when we left, and we could kind of have reciprocal admiration for each other for cutting our losses when we did, as hard as it was. Mm-hmm. Man, I don't know how I've done it the last 3 years, because it's been 3 years already. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I did it, but it wasn't all that hard. And I lost everything because of COVID, like my job, my car, everything. And man, people just need to have more faith in themselves.
Agree.
Especially women.
I can say a lot of, actually, I can't even say a lot of bad things about my ex-wife, but I can tell you that at 40 years old, she decided she wasn't happy in a marriage and left and started a new life. And you know who's doing well? Her. Mm-hmm. And you know who else is doing well? Me.
You. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. And again, maybe, and now here's the flip side of that. I'm still a nice guy. Her new husband is nice to me, but I've heard otherwise in the scheme of things. So maybe she just didn't want a nice guy and she wanted to fight all the time. More power to her. I don't want to fight all the time. I want to find somebody that is good for me mentally and physically stimulates me and mentally stimulates me, that you can work on each other together. I don't want to fix anyone either. It's not my job to fix her at all, but I will hold her hand while she's fixing herself. Those are the things.
I'm okay with everybody being who they are right now, because I think life changes everything to begin with. But I want somebody that I like being around. Mm-hmm. Period. Like it's not rocket science.
But what I mean by like being themselves, that's okay. But I'm saying that if you want to fix yourself, I'll be there with you to let you fix yourself. I love you either way. Whether you fix yourself or not is irrelevant. But if you feel a certain way and you think there's something that you want to change or fix in your life, I'm going to be there to help you. It's not my job to do it, but I'll stand with you because that's what partners do or mates do. I'm there for you either way, whether I agree or if I don't agree. But be upfront with who you are. This is who I am. I am intense. I have no problem with it. I'm sending you flowers and writing you poems, but I'm not fucking kicking your windows in. It's not who I am. I'm not going to tell you that I don't like your, whatever, your ass a certain way. I don't care about that. It's irrelevant to me. As long as you're coming to the table and stimulating my brain and we're having meaningful conversations for however long, hopefully the rest of my life, that's what I want. I just want people to understand out there that the good guys aren't bad. We're not weak.
No, and I think ultimately people know that. I think ultimately women know that. But at the same time, they're coming from a different place in their head. Men are much easier on themselves than women are. Like women are really harsh, like harsh on themselves, like to the point where it's disgusting. Like to hear what they could come up with to be so mean about. I'm like, damn, she really hates herself. Truly. I don't think guys get like that. I mean, now we're getting to the point where guys have beer bellies, because of our age and stuff. And they're like, yeah, it took me 2 years to get this belly, and I think that that's fantastic that they're more okay with themselves. Women still are not.
I will tell you this, though. I think men hide it better. Because men don't talk to each other about, oh, I look like shit or whatever. Men look in the mirror and kill themselves inside while they're going through that. We just hide it different. We hide everything different. Men, because of how we're supposed to be in a relationship or in life, we hide way more than women do.
I'm sure.
And that's just being honest. Like we all have that issue. Again, I just think women project it way more.
Well, yeah. Okay. If you still go through all that stuff, looking in the mirror, like I get it, but you'll still put out confidence. Women don't put out the confidence. And I think that that's what's attractive to people. It's not like what we look like. Essentially, I mean, there needs to be that gravitational pull towards one another, that initial attraction. But after that, it's more about like the person. It should be about the person and not what they look like. Because you're right, looks fade. I was looking at pictures of me the other day going, wow, I didn't think I was good looking. And I was like, wow, I was really cute. And had no idea because I was too busy beating on myself. Right. Now at my age, I'm like, I don't really give a shit. Can I just find somebody to have fun with and not worry about all this stuff? Because I could beat on myself later if need be. Yeah. I mean, look, looking back at when you're young is the hardest thing. Like I don't do that anymore. That's ridiculous. I'm not that person anymore. I'm better actually. I'm better than I was then. I kind of said that to this person as well. Like the other day, like we were talking about things in her life and she was talking about this piece of shit. And look, I'm all up for confidence, but I did say something to her. I said, I'm already better than your man, period. And I know it. And I generally don't say things like that because I don't have a big ego at all. But in this case, I had to say it because I know I am. And it's okay to be a man and hold your own. And you should. But I thought it was for me, it was more like, look, I was puffing my chest up and I was white knighting and I have no problem with it. Sometimes you need the white knight to come save you. Regardless of and independent women who say that they don't need that shit, you're lying. No, there's every blue times. Moon, every blue moon, you have to have someone come save you, and that's okay. Don't be afraid to be saved.
because sometimes you're in a shitty situation. You need a little saving. It doesn't make you weak to a man. It just means, yeah, I need a little help right now. And I think that maybe the good guy needs to do that a little bit more. It's okay. The good guy isn't a facade. It isn't a fallacy. There are good guys that don't have ulterior motive and we're real.
They're few and far between though, Rob.
Maybe I mean, that may be true.
They are. But I think as a society, we've kind of poisoned both sides, you know, we're going to have to make a comeback on all of these things that we're doing wrong and get back to where we start loving each other again, instead of like being worried that we're going to be wronged.
Agree. I agree. Look, but I think, yes, you're right. Being wronged is a killer. And a lot of these fucking shitheads are wronging people.
But we're expecting it. You know what I know about men in my life? I don't expect them to be anything but wonderful to me. And guess what? They are. They're wonderful to me because that's what I expect.
Sure.
So if we're going to if I started to say, yeah, Rob is a real dick, you would have a problem with it. You would say, you know, you would have something to say and you would start acting like a dick to prove me right. I don't do that to you. We don't have to do that. I would never do that to you because you've been the white knight at times that saved my ass, going back to like 18 years old.
Right.
So we get what we expect. We get what we give. We get what we put out, and we need to start owning our own shit. And as women, like, quit being so damn weak that you think you can't do for yourself, because you can.
You're proving it for sure.
Yeah, I'm proving it. I never went through a divorce. I didn't know how to even go about it. And then how did I do that where we didn't have not one argument? There were so many times I had to go, nope, not today, and walk out of the house when we were supposed to get together to work on things. But I couldn't be nice. But guess what? Because I put that expectation on myself, he followed my lead. We didn't blow up everything, and we could have, things that were in our marriage, we could have blown it clear to kingdom come.
Right.
What do you expect? And what do you accept? Go with that. Raise the freaking bar already.
All right. We're going to leave it just on that. That was the perfect wording to end that. Raise the bar a little bit.
Raise the bar.
All righty. Well, after another nice 50 minutes, it was nice to be back on. And
yes,
make sure you roll and listen to this podcast wherever you can hear podcasts. Go on, put in Don't Get This Twisted, follow, subscribe, go to our socials to hear what we're talking about. Give us some ideas just like this one, because we actually take your advice and do shows. Lots of them. Actually, if you look back on all of our shows, most of them are not our ideas. So pretty good. Tina, as always, it's a pleasure.
I always enjoy coming and doing this with you.
And this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Until next Wednesday, for my co-host Tina, I am Rob. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you in a week.